Immortal Sword Daily+No Cruel Qi+Easy Direction+Female Lead+Plane+Invincible, Chen Ye, who passed away from a long-term 996 heart attack, unexpectedly traveled to the world of Sword and Fairy 3 and became a Taoist in Shushan. And it accidentally activated the broken rules system. As long as it is associated with the characters in the Fairy Sword plot and has broken rules behavior, you can receive various rewards. So, the art style of the entire world of Immortal Swords changed. Putting aside her paranoia and unraveling her knot, Zixuan became a clingy Miao little witch. Tragic Lord Jing Tian, who did not save the world and became the richest man in the 6 realms, focused on making money. Has the fragile sister Long Kui's personality been separated into the sickly sister and the cool queen? Has the white tofu that was once trapped in love really become immortal? When the immortal sword boss, the Evil Sword Immortal, finally takes shape and wants to bring disaster to the world, looking at Chen Ye, who was stirring the 6 realms with one hand and standing behind him filled with heavenly gods and Buddhas, he fell into autism. Evil Sword Immortal. Help! Is it because I opened it the wrong way? Why is he more like a villain than me? The Heavenly Emperor said, with Chen Ye alone, we can ensure peace in the 6 realms. The 6 realms cannot do without him. Chen Ye. I am just an ordinary Taoist. Chapter 1. Are you a system underage? You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Senior brother, it's okay. There's no forehead, it hurts so much. Don't want it anymore, okay? No, just hold on a little longer and it will be fine soon. Behind Shu Mountain, in a low-footed forest, a disheveled Taoist stepped on another Taoist digging out a bird's nest, and the frivolous Taoist named Chen Ye, another Taoist named Su Changqing, plus in a moment, Chen Ye slowly descended to the ground, descending from Su Changqing, holding several eggs with brown spots on the surface. It was precisely because there were many intertwined branches next to this dwarf tree that Chen Ye decided to step on Su Changqing to dig eggs, which was not particularly high. Su Changqing asked curiously, Senior brother, what kind of egg are you working so hard on? Chen Ye spoke up and said, this egg is amazing. It's called quail egg, and it's a rare tonic. Chen Ye. It contains rich nutrients such as protein, phospholipids, vitamin A, vitamin B2, iron, phosphorus, calcium, etc. It has the miraculous effect of tonifying deficiency, nourishing the skin, kidney, qi, and brain. Chen Ye. In my opinion, Xiaoshu, you need to eat more to nourish your brain. Su Changqing simply said, Senior brother, I won't eat it. As the saying goes, kindness is the foundation of all good. If a person wants to accumulate virtue and hard work, not only love others, but also love things. Although things are tiny, they are also life. This little egg can hatch small beasts, which is equivalent to killing. Our Taoist sect emphasizes the importance of observing the 5 precepts. First, no killing of life. Second, no meat or wine. Third, no deceit or deceit. Fourth, no theft. Fifth, no evil or lustful behavior. Based on this, we must observe the 10 precepts. The first precept must be loyal, unfilial, inhumane, or untrustworthy. We must be loyal to our rulers and relatives, and promote all things. The second precept must not be insidious, malicious, or self-destructive. We must practice virtue and promote the well-being of the people. The third precept must not kill Han Sheng to satisfy the taste, and we must practice kindness, as well as insects. Su Changqing couldn't help but speak incessantly to teach Chen Ye. Chen Ye, on the other hand, was extremely impatient and threatened. Su Changqing, hurry up and stop me. Don't force me to block your mouth. Chen Ye's words were still very effective, and Su Changqing immediately fell silent. Su Changqing has always followed the words of this senior brother very well. Seeing Su Changqing obedient and silent, Chen Ye didn't have a good temper. What bothers you the most is that everything you do has to be outlined and put online. Anyway, I can't stay in this place anymore. If I stay any longer, I will get depressed. And the reason why Chen Ye said so, it's because he wasn't originally from this world, but it was a day when Blue Star of the 20th century chose workers, working overtime when sick, working overtime after work, working overtime at home during vacation. The result came without any accidents. On this day, at the age of 25, he suddenly suffered a heart attack and passed away suddenly. With many regrets, for parents who have not yet aged, I haven't been able to live in the house I borrowed money from either. The important thing is that I haven't even talked about my girlfriend yet. People die, dust returns to dust, soil returns to soil, nothing is taken away. But fortunately, he traveled through time and was reborn like many protagonists in novels he had read in his past life, and it has traveled to the world of Xian Jian 3, where people, demons, ghosts, immortals, gods, and demons coexist. Since childhood, he has been adopted by the Shushan sect leader Qingwei as his only disciple. According to the seniority of Shushan, he is the eldest senior brother among the disciples of Shushan. Today, when he came to House Han, he could no longer tolerate the lack of clear soup and food in the sect, so he opened a small stove here. I saw Chen Ye set up a fire, took out a small pot from the kitchen, poured water, and started boiling eggs. During the waiting period, Chen Ye was bored and asked Su Changqing. Xiaoshu, what is your dream? Upon hearing this, Su Changqing exclaimed with excitement. Senior brother, my dream is naturally to devote myself to cultivation, achieve enlightenment and become an immortal as soon as possible, and strive for the revival of the sect. But Chen Ye was speechless about this. This child has been brainwashed too severely. Chen Ye only said. What's good about becoming an immortal? It's better to be a wealthy and prosperous person in the world, enjoying life and leisure. Anyway, cultivating immortality is not my desire. I will eventually go down the mountain to find my own path, the path of freedom, the path of strategy, the path of Mengda. Cough, 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 cough. However, Chen Ye did think the same way. After all, his past life was so hard and frustrating, and he has been working hard for a lifetime. It's not like he can do whatever he wants and be happy no matter how happy he is. However, Su Changqing felt a pang of sadness upon hearing Chen Ye's words. But Changqing grew up with his senior brother since childhood and didn't want him to leave Shu Mountain. Well behaved, even if we don't become senior brothers after separation, we can still be friends. Looking at this junior brother who grew up behind his buttocks from a young age, Chen Ye rarely showed a touch of tenderness and patted Su Changqing's hair, saying, at this moment, a voice suddenly came to Chen Ye's mind. Congratulations to the host for triggering the system. Awakening the Breaking Precepts system allows players to accumulate breaking precepts and exchange them for system rewards by interacting with characters in the Immortal Sword. At the same time, triggering random tasks can also earn generous rewards. Chen Ye was pleasantly surprised by the sound. After waiting for so many years, Golden Finger has finally received the payment. But then Chen Ye realized something was wrong. Inquiring the system in consciousness. What does the system mean to activate under the condition of breaking the precepts? What did I do just now? You can activate it. Please explain it to me first. System. You're just that. Aren't you caressing a little boy? The system seemed to switch to Lu Ning's tone. Chen Ye was furious upon hearing this. What do you mean by, I wiped the system? Laozi is a Taoist with a very clear sexual orientation and special caresses from the gods. That is the pure school friendship between senior brothers and junior brothers. We are innocent. System. Well, the host is indeed a Taoist, but if they are not serious, they will not know. I'll wipe it, you die for me in the system. Chen Ye shouted angrily in his consciousness. The system reminds. The host cannot threaten minors. Chen Ye is surprised. What? Are you a minor in your system yet? The system replied again. Yeah, this system has just been activated, Why not count it? I think there's something wrong with you in the system. Did you use the wrong voice package? Chen Ye sneered. Then Chen Ye roast. Speaking of the system, you said you've activated it all. Why don't you just give me the whole invincibility? I'll have to work hard to break the ring and exchange it, how troublesome it is. The system solemnly states. Host, this system still hopes that you can use your little efforts to win rewards. As the saying goes, only bread exchanged for labor tastes the sweetest. The system also said. Due to the current survival status of the host, it is not suitable for the healthy growth of this system. Therefore, the codenamed, I want to leave Lang Lang Mountain, task has been released. Please complete the downhill task as soon as possible. Upon hearing this, Chen Ye said. Going down the mountain. Then I must have wanted to go down the mountain a long time ago. There are so many beautiful lives waiting for me to experience outside, and those fairy sword beauties. How can I waste time here? But it's not easy to go down the mountain, it has to go through many tests, it's not an ordinary difficulty. The system says. This system can provide a free beginner lucky bag activity to help the host change the current situation. Newcomer lucky bag. But I don't have much luck. I've never been hit by scratch music in my previous life, Chen Ye roast. System. Does the host choose to accept it? Chen Ye. Accept. Of course accept. Whoever gives for free doesn't want it. It's better to have it than not. Come on. System. Does the host receive a newbie lucky bag? Chen Ye. Get it. System. Newcomer lucky bag extraction in progress. In an instant, Chen Ye's mind was filled with dense system prompts. Chapter 2. Art Competition. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. De Co Lois Ara Trong Quatrin Lay Text. Chapter 3. Under Weishan Lake. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. In the blink of an eye, everyone wielded their swords and arrived at the foot of Shu Mountain. There is a lake here. Named Weishan Lake, there are peaks and pavilions by the lake. It is actually a place with great artistic conception. At this moment, Su Changqing's sword arrived here, and the flying sword hovered over the lake, and the elders and disciples are located in the pavilion to observe. Elder Jingming said, Old Song, I remember that your disciple is most skilled in water magic. He chose to fight here very wisely. Sangu nodded and said, Changqing is still very stable and has not entrusted him with any responsibilities. He knows how to adapt to local conditions, and the disciples next to them also heard about it one after another. Yes, I have seen senior brother Changqing use water magic, which is extraordinary. Apart from the elder, I'm afraid no one can compare it. Senior brother is in danger now. There is no advantage in this water-based metal magic, and water combat is the most dangerous. I have never seen my senior brother use any water magic before. This is another Taoist competition that senior brother Chen Ye is extremely not good at. Senior brother Changqing has taken advantage of the timing, location, and harmony of people, making it difficult to win. Many disciples of Shu Mountain express different emotions, but it seems that they are not very optimistic about Chen Ye. At this point, Su Changqing and Chen Ye's imperial sword were facing each other from afar on the lake surface. Su Changqing said. Senior brother, don't blame me. I chose the battlefield on the water, as it is my expertise in water-based techniques. In order to keep my senior brother, Changqing must do his best. Chen Ye is indifferent. Okay, then let senior brother experience his craftsmanship. Su Changqing said solemnly, Senior brother, you have offended me. Immediately, as he reached out, a faint water vapor gradually rose from the lake's surface. In a hazy moment, Su Changqing formed a seal in his hand, and suddenly the mist in the water condensed into a changing form. In an instant, it condensed into countless water arrows and spears, rising out of thin air. Later, with a gesture from Su Changqing, both the spear and arrow turned to point towards Chen Ye. Su Changqing only said, "Go." In an instant, these densely packed water arrows and spears rushed towards Chen Ye like a barrage of bullets, but Chen Ye's expression remained indifferent upon seeing the situation. With a wave of his hand, condensed a golden long rod, Chen Ye spread his long stick evenly with both hands. Immediately, the arms rotated wildly, spinning the shaft until it gradually condensed into an indistinct phantom, and at this point, those attacks are imminent, but under Chen Ye's waving, the golden stick seemed to condense into a golden barrier beside him. The water spear and arrow are both blocked by its grid. It's like an airtight wall, unable to invade, and Su Changqing also knew that those attacks could not pose a threat to Chen Ye. Immediately, a more complex seal was formed in the hand, the art of water faucet. Suddenly, the water below the lake surges and condenses into a body. For a moment, there seems to be a water tap swimming in the water, and for a moment, a blue water tap jumps out of the lake. Countless streams of water continuously drip down, and the water tap rises into the sky and makes a dragon chant to Chen Ye, rushing straight away. The water tap caused everyone to exclaim in surprise. Senior brother Changqing is actually able to cast such a level of magic, and I'm afraid the water magic has been practiced to a great extent. Truly worthy of being the most profound Changqing senior brother in Shu Mountain magic. Once this dragon emerges, who can compete with it? The elders were also surprised to see this scene. Elder Heong said, "Old Song, you are really a great disciple. You can apply the 5 spirits technique to this level in the yin-yang realm, and your future achievements are limitless." Sangu couldn't help feeling a little proud in his heart as he listened. After all, at their level, what they compare to is not personal combat power, but the level of teaching the younger generation, where a teacher is valued by a disciple. Chen Ye didn't dare to neglect the rushing water, hold a golden stick and magnify it several times. Boom. The golden stick collided with the water tap, generate a loud roar, but Chen Ye actually stepped back a few meters, and the giant stick was almost unstable. Immediately after, Chen Ye held a golden rod and turned the water tap, but the size of this faucet is really huge, and due to the characteristics of water, Chen Ye can remove 3 parts of his force every time he hits it with brute force. Make Chen Ye feel very frustrated, and in a general sense, Chen Ye was unexpectedly knocked off. A small peak by the water faucet with a flick of its tail, causing gravel disturbance, and the faucet continued to run towards Chen Ye without slacking off. At this point, Chen Ye was also stirred up with a third of his anger. A good faucet, right? Then I'll condense a dragon out. The next moment, Chen Ye formed a seal with both hands, whispering softly, "The art of dragon fire." A flame instantly appeared from Chen Ye's mouth, amplifying and condensing in the air, forming a giant flame dragon. Endless flames burned fiercely on the dragon, also rushing towards the faucet. When Chen Ye's dragon condensed, everyone exclaimed in surprise. "What is this? What is this?" Senior brother Chen Ye unexpectedly condensed a fire dragon. Fire spells are the most difficult to control, and Master Brother has reached this level. Society is too fake. Senior brother used to tell me that there was no point in not learning this spell, but I didn't expect to sneak into it behind my back like this. Elder Zhu. Chen Ye is really a good seedling. If cultivated well, he will definitely shine. It would be a pity if he goes down the mountain. His cultivation, character, and magic are all of the highest quality, and he truly deserves to be a disciple of the sect leader. However, Zhang Jiaoqing appeared to be lost in thought. Over here, at the moment when the water faucet collided with the dragon, a huge amount of water vapor erupted. Mist is flying, like clouds gathering vast expanses. It has a highly visual effect. I saw 2 giant dragons, green and red, stretching for tens of meters, rolling on the surging blue waves. The collision of 2 dragon heads caused a huge amount of water vapor. Water vapor causes cloudy skies, strong winds, and howling sounds that make one's heart palpitate. At this moment, the fire dragon opened its huge mouth and spewed out a blazing flame, like a fierce lion, rushing towards the water tap. The water tap dodged like lightning and immediately spewed out a huge column of water, shooting out like a fountain, directly hitting the fire dragon's head. Two dragons encountered each other in the air, and a loud sound came from them, resembling the splashing of dragon scales. The fire dragon let out another howl, and the flames surged into the horns above its head. At that moment, the fire dragon emitted a colorful light all over its body, appearing exceptionally fierce. The water faucet roared and immediately launched a devastating attack, flooding the entire lake as if boundless. The fire dragon was not afraid at all, spewing out a raging sea of fire from its mouth, completely melting the flood. The two dragons fought fiercely, their momentum overwhelming. The fire dragon swung its tail and fiercely slashed at the head of the water dragon. The water dragon resisted hard, and then suddenly punched the fire dragon's chest, dragon claw strike, coming and going. However, ultimately it was Chen Ye's fiery dragon that was solid and fierce. Under dozens of rounds, at a certain moment, Chen Ye's condensed dragon suddenly shrank its body and used the opportunity to take off to once again fiercely roll the raging flames towards the water tap, and at this moment, the faucet could no longer hold on, shattering with a loud bang. Chapter 4. I am a straight man. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The battle of water, fire, and dragon ultimately ended in the defeat of the water dragon. Su Chongqing saw that the situation was not good. I want to retreat. Suddenly, I noticed two whirlpools of wind appearing under my feet. This is. At this moment, Chen Ye's voice came. Junior brother, don't move around at the end, otherwise this wind blade will break your legs. After a moment of fear, Su Chongqing immediately smiled bitterly and said. Senior brother is indeed still a senior brother. His skills are not as good as others. In this battle, Master Brother won. Listening to Su Chongqing admit defeat, Chen Ye also waved his hand to disperse the whirlwind, but the crowd was still unsatisfied with this exquisite and unparalleled fighting technique. I didn't expect Senior Brother to win in the end. It's unbelievable. Senior Brother not only has a high cultivation level, but also is so proficient in Taoist techniques that he has no shortcomings. You didn't notice that Senior Brother used the three extremely similar spells of gold, fire, and wind in this battle. Isn't this saying that Senior Brother has already practiced the limits of the five phenomena to their fullest potential? I would like to call Senior Brother the strongest disciple among our peers. But although that's the case, this is only the first level, and I'm afraid Master Brother's upcoming battles will be even more difficult. And here, the head teacher Qingwei heard Chongqing admit defeat. It was also announced immediately that this level is Chen Yeshen. Then he said to Chen Ye again. You have already won this level. The next match is the swordsmanship ratio, which is a battle with one of the elders members in the same realm. Considering that you have consumed some energy in the battle just now, Chen Ye, you can choose to rest and choose a day to fight again. Unexpectedly, Chen Ye refused upon hearing these words. No need, master. Just today. I can still fight. Seeing Chen Ye's insistence on this, Qingwei said. Since that's the case, then it's up to you. Then he said to the elder. Elders, who is willing to go to war? As soon as the words fell, one elder among the elders stood up without hesitation. I was shocked to see this elder stand up, and everyone else was shocked. Elder Jingming said, Old Sang, are you coming out just to find a place for your disciple? Sangu said calmly, of course not. And many disciples were also surprised. Surprisingly, it's Elder Tsangu. This is the elder with the second highest strength among the elders, second only to the one in charge of teaching. I'm just going to make a fuss about it. Is this the old one after the small one? Senior brother Chen Ye's game is quite difficult. Even his best swordsmanship cannot be compared to Elder Tsangu. Ignoring everyone's speculation, although Chen Ye had this kind of pressure, but there is no turning back arrow when bowing. No matter who it is, Chen Ye will also shine his sword today. But the head teacher Qingwei still asked. Chen Ye, do you have any objections? Chen Yedao said, I don't have any disciples. Qingwei said, okay, since that's the case, then let's start the second battle. In Chen Ye's eyes, the fighting spirit surged. Elder Tsangu took steps towards Chen Ye. Each step is slow but extremely oppressive, at the same time. Chen Ye suddenly heard a voice in his ear. Chen Ye, do you know why I must take action? Chen Ye identified that it was the voice of Elder Tsang walking towards him, but Elder Tsangu used condensed sound transmission. Only Chen Ye can hear that voice, so Chen Ye also condensed his voice and said. The elder's personal intervention in the battle must be due to his reluctance to let Chen Ye leave Shu Mountain, so he personally intervened to stop him. However, Chen Ye's intention has been determined, so the elder should not dissuade him. But the next moment, Chen Ye heard a unique answer. I chose to personally take action because I have been waiting for this opportunity to publicly teach you, this stubborn person, for a long time. Elder Tsang's tone seemed to be mixed with a hint of suppressed anger. Ah. Chen Ye was momentarily confused upon hearing these words, but looking at the heavy expression on the face of Elder Tsangu at this moment, Chen Ye finally seemed to have thought of something. No way, that thing was done seamlessly back then. It's impossible for the elders to know about it. So Chen Ye once again condensed his voice and said. Elder, what are you talking about? I don't quite understand why. I, Chen Ye, have always been law-abiding on the mountain, strictly abiding by the rules of the sect, using my heart as a mirror, believing without orders, and strictly following rules. Just as Chen Ye was still struggling to defend himself, the voice of the elder Tsangu rang out again in his ear. The one who stole my husband's clothes years ago was you, kid. Upon hearing these words, Chen Ye was suddenly surprised in his heart. I almost couldn't hold my expression, but at this moment, I still pretend to be calm and say. Elder Tsang, what are you talking about? I still can't understand. And the elder Tsangu across from him listened to Chen Ye's tone of pretending to be silly and sophistry. Anger surged in my heart. You don't know anything. It was 3 years ago when I was bathing in a hot spring on the back mountain, and when I got ashore, I found out that my clothes had been taken away and replaced with a set of women's clothing. Don't say you don't know about this. Chen Ye was surprised in his heart, lying silkworms. It's really that thing. But admitting it is impossible. Who admits who is stupid? Anyway, there is no evidence for this matter, so Chen Ye continued to pretend to be foolish and said, Chen Ye has heard of this, but he can't remember it very clearly. At this moment, the anger of Elder Tsangu had already been aroused. You can't remember clearly. You told me you can't remember clearly. That day, I found out that my clothes had been swapped and I didn't want to go back to the sect naked, so I had to change into that set of women's clothing. I had planned to sneak back to the sect, but when I asked you to go back to the room, it was you, Chen Ye, who suddenly called out a demon in the courtyard. As a result, all the masters and disciples of the sect moved out and caught me wearing women's clothing. Speaking of which, the voice of Elder Tsangu began to emerge with endless grief and anger, continuing. Do you know what social death is? I, Tsangu, elder of Shushan, in charge of the punishment hall. The strongest elder under the leadership of the sect appears in the daytime wearing women's clothing in the sect. At that moment, the old man's image collapsed with a loud bang over the years. At that moment, I can only pretend to be calm and walk back to the door. I will never forget the day when the sect looked at me from top to bottom. It's been 3 years now. Do you know how I've been living these 3 years? The elders tease me, while my disciples secretly discuss me. I thought I had some cross-dressing fetish, and even some disciples didn't forget to buy me a floral dress when they went down the mountain. Thank you for your kindness. But I'm a straight man, how could I possibly like dresses? So, to wash away the shame of the old man's day, since then, I have been investigating. Finally, the heavens have fulfilled those who have intentions, and I have uncovered every trace of it. Before that incident, I heard from the disciples of Xuanhuan cultivation that only you had been to Xuanhuan during those days. And that set of clothes is exactly the clothes of the daughter of the old Wang family who went up the mountain to deliver supplies, and you have close contact with that old Wang. And the timing of your appearance that day was too coincidental. All the spears are pointing towards you, and just when I asked you, your strong heartbeat made me even more certain that it was you. What other excuses do you have? Upon hearing these words, Chen Ye sighed in his heart. In this situation, it is not meaningful for Chen Ye to admit or not admit, so Chen Ye chose to remain silent. And Elder Tsangu continued to say, "Forget it, you can admit it or not. I waited for 3 years just to wait for an opportunity. I want to fight for a breath, not to prove my innocence, but to tell others, I must find back the face I lost." Chen Ye suppressed his smile. It seems that we can't do anything good now. After all, who would have thought that Elder Tsangu would make him an elder, but he started a detective. In fact, 3 years ago, he did it casually, but unexpectedly. It caused such a great shadow on the small soul of Elder Tsangu. But if I tell the elder another thing, never mind, we can't add fuel to the fire now. If we know that there is another participant, Elder Tsangu may go berserk directly at this point. Qingwei could naturally sense that the two were speaking in secret language. Then he spoke up and said, "Tsangu, what are you waiting for?" At this moment, Tsangu's heart was already filled with anger, burning with anger. Hear the words of the leader. Directly shaking his feet, he opened his mouth and exclaimed, "In the field of Kendo, open up." Chen Ye was stunned by this, lying silkworms. "Old Song, this is crazy. No one can come up and open it up." Everyone was also surprised. Elder Zhu. Elder Jingming said, "What's wrong with Lao Tsang? He wouldn't be so cruel in his daily life." Elder Yuxian said, "I can't say for sure, Old Song always has a few days of unstable emotions every month." Zhang Jiaoqing said, "That's right. Last time, Chang Yin went down the mountain and bought a floral dress to give to Old Song. I heard that Old Song was extremely excited right now. As brothers, although we have loyalty in our hearts, we should also care more for Old Song and not distance ourselves from him just because of some of his hobbies." Elder Heang said, "Yes, I think what Master Zhang said is that in the future, female guests who go up the mountain should pay more attention and order clothes." Elder Jingming said, "But now Chen Ye seems to be in some danger when encountering Lao Tsang. I heard that Lao Tsang's emotions would be particularly irritable during those days, and he might not be able to control himself." But the head teacher Qingwei calmly said, "It doesn't matter, I will take action." Chapter 5. Disciples Showdown, Stop Pretending. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The invisible golden realm on Elder Tsangu is fully open. Countless sword qi surged and surged throughout the body. The sword energy is fierce and fierce, sound bursts. As Elder Tsang pointed, sword qi locks onto Chen Ye. Chen Ye couldn't help but burst into sweat. The next moment, thousands of sword qi roared out, rushing towards Chen Ye. Shua! Shua! The fierce momentum cuts through countless thin and long water gaps at the same time. Chen Ye had to temporarily avoid his sharpness, backward movement of body shape, flying with a sword, to distance oneself from Elder Tsangu on the lake surface. Sword energy strikes. Chen Ye dodged left and right on a flying sword. Sword energy bombarded the mountain peak, as if it had been blasted out of countless broken stones. Chen Ye's sword turned its head, soaring into the air, at high altitude. Instant fire technique, countless fireballs flew from the air towards the Elder Tsangu. Boom! 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 Some fireballs have not yet approached Elder Tsangu. It is divided by the sword energy surrounding it, and another part, falling on the lake and hitting several meters of huge waves. Seeing that this kind of attack poses no threat to giants of Tsangu's level, Chen Ye has also decided to increase his intensity. Chen Ye's eyes were sharp as he shouted to Elder Tsangu below. "Elder Tsang, at this point, the disciples have showcased their cards and stopped pretending. I will use my strongest sword move in my life. Be careful. Humph, if you have any more tricks, just use them, otherwise you won't have a chance to use them," Elder Tsangu said indifferently. And Chen Ye listened to these words. Qi sank into the dantian, expression solemn. A temperament naturally arises from him. And the observers. Su Chongqing. Senior brother's aura has changed, he looks like a peerless expert. Many junior brothers said, I'm curious about senior brother Chen's strongest move. Is it his own sword move? That would be too spicy. Qingwei said, Chen Ye, there are so many surprises on him. Let me see what else you can rely on. At this time, Chen Ye had not yet revealed his moves, but he had already replaced himself in the role of the peerless sword immortal, unlimited boldness in the heart, facing Elder Tsangu, he said again. Since that's the case, then the elder will take a look at the strongest moves of the disciples. Elder. I'm making a fool of myself. Here comes the sword. A roar full of vitality shook the world, and when Elder Tsangu saw Chen Ye's posture, he couldn't help but take it seriously and be prepared for it, and all the members of the school are constantly paying close attention to the situation on the field with tense expressions. Ran Goose, after Chen Ye shouted out the sword with great arrogance, the air remained quiet for a while, time seems to have come to a standstill, then there was no further movement, only the sound of the wind, whoosh. Someone realized something was wrong. Junior brother A, is senior brother's sword move activated? Why can't I look at the table? Junior brother B, is it because our level is too low? The elder Tsangu also felt a hint of anger and shouted. Chen, are you playing tricks on me again, making a show of yourself? And Chen Ye also felt something was wrong. Hey, what's going on? Why didn't you react? So he cursed loudly in his consciousness, is the gift package you gave me, dog system, a counterfeit or fake product? At this point, the system is filled with resentment. Host, is it possible that you haven't claimed it yet? At this moment, Chen Ye realized that he had only received and loaded the spiritual method package before, and the other rewards had not been loaded yet. I'm in a big awkward situation right now. Immediately, he also said to Elder Tsangu and others. Sorry, I made a mistake earlier. Come back. For a moment, everyone flipped their horses, and Elder Tsangu also patiently passed the time. Chen, you. However, his words were not yet finished. I heard Chen Ye solemnly and loudly say again. Today's sword. Chen Ye has a sword that can move mountains, cut off rivers, pour into the sea, and open up heaven. Sword. Come on. And this time there is a sudden change in the wind and clouds, no wind will arise. The disciples of Shu Mountain wear swords with a faint sound at this moment. Chen Ye's style is infinite in freehand brushwork, and Su Changqing's eyes were full of small stars, so handsome, so handsome. This word is too catchy, I need to quickly remember it. And Elder Tsangu's face twitched, this skill is not very good, it's even more impressive than the old man. Why don't I have any education, otherwise I'll give you 2 whole sentences. And this time, with Chen Ye's voice falling, the sword in the hand of the disciple of Shu Mountain in an instant was unexpectedly unsheathed independently, breaking away from the master's control. A handful, 2, 3 handlebars, 4, more and more swords are independently taking off. What's going on? Why is my sword out of control? I didn't use the imperial sword technique. Hey, come back. Come back. My ice Xian sword. Zhang Jiaoqing's eyes were surprised. And now someone is shouting. Look. What is that? I saw a huge black torrent coming from the sky in the direction of the sect gate. Chapter 6. Jiang is still old and spicy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Take a closer look. The black torrent was actually formed by flying swords one after another, someone has already recognized. This quantity of flying swords has emptied all the swords in the sword pavilion, right? Is this really the sword technique summoned by senior brother? This move is too domineering. Senior brother, bully. Is this Baij, the sword fairy I imagined? And Elder Tsangu also showed surprise on his face. I didn't expect Chen Ye's sword moves to have such power, and it was also a sword move he had never seen before. It's a bit like the 10,000 swords technique inside the door, but there's also a difference between clouds and mud. the 10,000 swords technique is the differentiation of flying swords and the transformation of sword shards. But Chen Ye's move actually directly drew all the swords around him for his use. This power is several times stronger than the differentiated sword, but Elder Tsangu said to Chen Ye. I didn't expect that you really have two brushes, kid. Then let me, Elder, fully appreciate the power of this sword move. At this time, Chen Ye's confidence was also soaring. Okay, then I'll satisfy you, Elder. Chen Ye said lightly, falling sword. Suddenly, thousands of flying swords in the air flowed down like waterfalls, sweeping away in unison. A moment of intense impact. I saw countless flying swords passing through like locusts, bombardment in the sword god realm of Elder Tsangu. In an instant, Chang. Bang. The roar of the golden spear, countless flying swords and sword lights flicker one after another, attempting to break through the golden realm of Elder Tsang. The domain of Elder Tsang's sword god is like an incredibly hard turtle shell shaking. Seeing this, Chen Ye controls the convergence of flying swords in one line. Concentrate on a little impact. The attack frequency has also caused some turbulence in Elder Tsangu's field. And Elder Tsang did not sit idly by. The Elder Tsangu in the field formed a seal in his hand and said, Shockwave sword technique. For a moment, the towering waves on the lake below the sword god's realm were pulling, like rolling up a tsunami vortex. Wave your hand. The huge waves swept through Chen Ye's flying sword with a towering force. Suddenly, thousands of flying swords are swept into the tide. Chen Ye was also photographed falling to the bottom of the lake. The disciples of Shushan were surprised. Is senior brother Chen Ye defeated now? Elder Tsangu is indeed powerful. The two of them are not at the same level of strength. Although senior brother is already very impressive, unfortunately he met Elder Tsangu. Jiang is still old and spicy. And at this moment, a hint of arrogance appeared on Elder Tsangu's face. Humph, melon child, let you show off your handsomeness in front of me. And the next moment, suddenly, a figure flew out of the lake. It was precisely Chen Ye who fell into the water. I saw him shouting again in the air, sword. Come. A golden light suddenly appeared with Chen Ye as the center. Countless flying swords leap out of the lake and take off from him as the center. At first, it was just a front line, then countless golden lines gradually converge. The diameter of the golden light instantly expands several times. In an instant, from a distance, one Jian could be seen converging into a golden giant sword centered around Chen Ye. Hanging in the air. Chen Ye stands among the giant sword. A hollow sound resembling that of a Buddha is heard. Elder, take my sword. So, the golden giant sword tilted and the blade slashed towards the realm of the golden sword god of the ancient elder, and Elder Tsangu once again established his seal in the field. Sword god domain. Enhancement. Suddenly, the field once again released a dazzling golden light, and at this moment, Chen Ye's golden giant sword also struck down. Boom. The golden touch instantly flashes and thunders, generate a huge shock wave to dissipate, and the sword god domain actually blocked the attack of the giant sword, make the giant sword unable to move inch by inch for a moment. Then Chen Ye's gaze remained firm. I must have broken your shell. Slash. The giant sword mercilessly lifted and slashed again. Just a moment, both parties 1 inch, 2 inches under the crazy slash of Chen Ye's giant sword. A crack appeared on the golden shield, followed by an avalanche, crack propagation. At a certain moment, bang. The golden realm has been broken. The giant sword directly cuts the field in half from top to bottom, like cutting melons. The giant sword plunged into the water. The powerful shock wave that shattered the time domain overflowed with powerful energy, sweeping out. Suddenly, huge waves surge into the sky. Broken stones are scattered in the air. Even the feeling of watching the battle came with a powerful shockwave. Thanks to Qingwei waving his hand, a gas barrier stood in front of everyone, blocking the shockwave. Only then can everyone avoid harm. However, it can also be seen how powerful Chen Ye's swordsmanship is. Disciples. It's so close, just the shock wave is already strong enough to this extent. Senior brother truly deserves to be the strongest disciple. He is so handsome and a role model for us. Scrolls, it's too tight. I'm the only one who's useless when my disciples and elders fight like this. I'll just lie flat. Anyway, I can't get caught up in these people. Between lying flat and flaccid, I choose to lie flat and flaccid. Zhang Jiaoqing looked at Chen Ye, who was in the midst of a giant sword in the distance, and said, "It's really a great martial arts skill. It's natural and flexible to change. I didn't expect the little one to be able to comprehend such a magical sword move on his own." However, Lao Tsang is not easily defeated. Sure enough, in the next moment, Elder Tsangu appeared safely again on the lake. Chapter 7. Genius, Peerless Genius. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At this time, Elder Tsangu, it's no longer as light as before. The Taoist robe and hairstyle are already a bit messy. Watching Elder Tsang reappear before my eyes, many disciples of Shu Mountain were first amazed. Subsequently, he became even more excited and focused on this duel, because they know that the most exciting and tense moment is about to come. And for the appearance of Elder Tsang, Chen Ye was not too surprised either. After all, it's not very realistic to want to defeat Elder Tsang, who is in the senior 3 or 4 levels, with just one strike. Note. In the realm of immortal sword cultivation, it is divided into the Qi-inducing realm, including the Foundation realm, Huangting realm, Chaoyuan realm, Sanhua realm, Yin-Yang realm, Hunyuan realm, Lingfa realm, Nature realm, Tianming realm, Human immortal, Earth immortal, Heavenly immortal, True immortal, and Immortal Zun realm. Slightly modified, although Elder Tsangu has now suppressed his realm to the same yin and yang mirror as Chen Ye, however, the combat awareness and methods of its destiny mirror still dominate the majority. At this moment, Elder Tsangu said, "Kid, you have given me a lot of surprises, but now I will also show you the final form of the heavenly sword." I only heard Elder Tsangu's deep voice say, "Sword God Domain. Man-sword integration." The golden sword god realm on Elder Tsang's body reappeared, but this time it was not a defensive form, but gradually transformed into a golden giant sword form. Surprisingly, it shares a similar beauty with the golden giant sword transformed by Chen Ye. The only difference is that the essence of Chen Yeren's sword integration is not only human, but also the borrowed thousands of flying swords. In an instant, 2 huge flying swords come up and down, facing each other from afar, magnificent and magnificent. Elder Jingming said, "I didn't expect Chen Ye to force old Tsang's people and swords into one, but it seems that Elder Tsang is using more than just yin-yang mirror strength at this moment." And the leader watched this scene silently. Actually, just now when Chen Ye broke free from Elder Tsangu's sword god realm, Qingwei had already determined in his heart that this battle was Chen Yesheng, and the reason why he didn't announce it was to see how many surprises were still hidden in Chen Ye. He speculated that the current Elder Tsangu should also hold the same idea. In an instant, Elder Tsangu has moved, cutting through the sky with the posture of a combination of man and sword. The tip of the giant sword pointed straight at Chen Ye, and Chen Ye faced the fierce heavenly sword, without any fear, rush in the opposite direction. At this moment, the wind and clouds are stirring. When 2 giant swords collide with the sky, a massive tidal wave of energy swept across the sky, a strong gust of wind howled, the water rolls up with rough waves. The pressure difference caused by the collision of the 2 swords caused dark clouds to appear in the sky. At this moment, the world changes color. Only the radiance of 2 golden giant swords shines like brilliant flames in this darkness. Breath in and out, 2 giant swords form a sawing state in the air, under seemingly balanced calmness. The energy at the tips of 2 giant swords crazily erodes and impacts towards each other. Under the same realm, Chen Ye's Taoist skills are even more domineering. After all, he is a solid flying sword that condenses the sword body. But the power that Elder Tsangu is currently using has already disrupted this balance. Gradually, Chen Ye's giant sword began to retreat step by step. He also felt unprecedented pressure. This is the difference in realm, absolute power suppression. But at this point, Chen Ye had already retired and had no way to return. Chen Ye then lowered his heart and shouted inwardly. Immortal wind and cloud body technique. Load. In a moment, a stronger golden light bloomed from the giant sword transformed by Chen Ye, make everyone scream flash. When the dazzling golden light dissipates, to everyone's surprise, two golden light shadows appeared after Chen Ye transformed the giant sword. The posture of the golden light phantom is exactly the same as Chen Ye. This is. At this moment, Elder Tsanggu is closest to him, I can see it more clearly. He looked at the three golden shadows. It seems in my mind that there is such a move in the Shu Mountain Sword Sealing Record, Immortal Wind and Cloud Body Technique. Shushan's ultimate skill. Clone technique, which can transform one's own body into 3 external incarnations, and the clone has 30% of the body's combat power. The reason for being a top student is because no one has ever studied it for thousands of years, because in order to achieve this ultimate Taoist skill, it not only requires the cultivator to have extremely abnormal talents, but also strong spiritual strength to be able to practice it. Genius, unparalleled genius. In Tsanggu's heart, only these few words can emerge. At this moment, the eyes of Elder Tsanggu were full of appreciation. Although he appears strict on the surface, he is extremely pleased to see that his disciples in the sect can be so outstanding. As for the matter of women's clothing. I'm still very angry. And here Chen Ye doesn't know what others are thinking, his whole body and mind are focused on this battle. It has a strong belief and fighting spirit. That's fighting for freedom. Fight for the girl. Chen Ye did not hesitate at all, transforming into a virtual body on both sides, with the main body in the middle, Trinity. All power is infused into the golden light giant sword. The golden giant sword suddenly burst into more powerful energy fluctuations than before. The momentum instantly ascended the ladder. In an instant, he instantly suppressed the elder's heavenly sword. Chen Ye is drinking. Slash. However, Elder Tsanggu was also stirred up with fighting spirit and increased the power of some realms. At this point, the tips of both giant swords began to collapse inch by inch. If this continues, both will inevitably suffer damage, and at this moment, at the collision of two giant swords, a figure in a white robe suddenly appeared. Surprisingly, it was the head teacher Qingwei. He disregarded the energy collision between the two swords at all. A finger pokes out, like pressing the pause button, and the majestic energy collides and dissipates in an instant. Only listen to their understanding of the ancient path. Old Song, you have exceeded the rules. Stop it. And the ancient elders naturally have a number in their hearts. He has already violated the principle of using the power of the same realm. I naturally lost. So Elder Tsanggu lifted the state of unity between man and sword, and he said to Chen Ye. You're very good, kid. You're a good seedling, but you're a bit of a tiger in your work. You won this battle. After speaking, Elder Tsang left gracefully. At this point, Chen Ye's giant sword state had also been lifted. The head teacher Qingwei said to Chen Ye, is it okay? Chen Yidao said, we can still hold on. Qingwei. Okay, then come with me. So, both the leader and Chen Ye left with their swords. Only the disciples of Shu Mountain are still excitedly discussing today's exciting and unparalleled battle. I am familiar with the plot of Chapter 8. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the blink of an eye, the two of them arrived at a peak tower. The peak tower has 10 floors, and several chains extend from the tower body in 4 directions. Southeast, northwest, and northwest above the chain, there are dense talismans. Each layer of the tower also has countless talismans in vermilion handwriting. This is the forbidden area of Shu Mountain, the Locked Demon Tower. Master Qingwei has just arrived here. Several disciples responsible for guarding Shu Mountain came to see them. Master, senior brother, lock the demon tower. Everything goes as usual. Everything is normal for the sect leader, and there is no damage to the seal on the tower body. Just now, when we were observing the energy fluctuations in Shu Mountain, it seems that there was a large scale battle. We didn't go because we were guarding the Locked Demon Tower. Is the sect okay? Upon hearing this, Chen Ye touched his nose. No problem, you guys go down and rest first. Your senior brother and I will stay here for a while. As instructed, Master. Let's take a break and come back. Thank you, Master. With a gentle smile, under the locked demon tower, only Zhang Jiao and Chen Ye remain. There was also a somewhat chilly sobbing sound that seemed to be coming from the locked demon tower. Another brief moment of silence. At this moment, Qingwei spoke up. Chen Ye, do you know the origin of this locked demon tower? This tower was built by Emperor Liang Wu of the Southern Dynasty, who believed in Buddhism and gathered countless high monks. It took more than 20 years to build using diamond, white jade, and stone. Later, it was taken over by our Shu Mountain and renamed as the Locked Demon Tower, for the purpose of imprisoning demons. Chen Ye recounted the origin of the Locked Demon Tower, which is recorded in the Shu Mountain record. Do you know which demons are imprisoned in this tower? There are a group of demons led by the Heavenly Demon Emperor and some unjust spirits. Chen Ye continued to answer, actually, these are not the most terrifying monsters imprisoned by the Locked Demon Tower. Qingwei slowly spoke up. Upon hearing these words, Chen Ye's mind moved. He is familiar with the plot of the immortal sword. Is the old man going to self-destruct and hide, talking about that evil sword immortal? Sure enough, there is a hint of memories in the clear and gentle gaze. This is actually related to an old story that happened back then. When demons were causing trouble to the world, our power continued to grow. In order to quickly improve our strength, the elders in the sect and I secretly practiced the forbidden fairy arts in the sect. Although practicing the fairy arts greatly increased our strength, we went down the mountain to sweep away the evil spirits. However, the forbidden fairy arts magnified the evil thoughts in our hearts and caused a great change in our mentality. We realized this and decided to use the secret method inside the door to expel evil thoughts from our body, and seal them into the locking demon tower to suppress them. But I didn't expect this evil idea to feed on evil desires in the locked demon tower, and instead become increasingly powerful. I once deduced that in the future, evil ideas will inevitably bring disaster to the world. At this moment, Qingwei finished speaking and paused to take a look at Chen Ye's reaction, but unexpectedly, Chen Ye lowered his eyebrows and fell asleep. At present, there is not a single source of anger. Stinky kid, did you hear what I just said? Chen Ye was startled and immediately regained consciousness. Ah. I heard it. So what did I say just now? Qingwei asked in frustration. Well, just now the master said that you and the elders stole the forbidden fruit back then, but unexpectedly they got it. In order to avoid being responsible, they abandoned that thing in the locked demon tower, and then you calculated that this thing would destroy the world in the future, right? Chen Ye succinctly summarized what Qingwei had just said. Upon hearing these words, Qingwei was infuriated by Chen Ye's nonsense and felt uneasy. In the end, I suppressed my anger and didn't bother to argue. As long as Chen Ye listened, but then he continued to ask, then why are you so calm? Qingwei was also strange. This was a secret he had never revealed to anyone, but Chen Ye was not surprised at all. When asked these words, Chen Ye was also stunned. I can't say I'm a bug in your world, I'm familiar with the plot. Maybe I'm too tired, master. The battle just now was too exhausting, and there's also the destruction of the world. I don't need to worry about my strength. When the sky falls, there's a high one to hold on to. Upon hearing Chen Ye's explanation, Qingwei, but he looked at Chen Ye with deep meaning in his eyes. Chen Ye looked a bit hairy. It seems like I've been seen through. Qingwei did not continue to dwell on this issue, but continued to say, do you know why I adopted you back then? Chen Ye shook his head. That's because I can't see through your destiny trajectory. When I saw you as a baby in the wilderness, I deduced your future in order to find a good home for you, but found that your future was a blur. At that time, I knew you had a unique destiny, detached from the 6 realms, and perhaps have a unique future in the future. Perhaps when this world falls into fire and water, you can become that glimmer of vitality. Well, master, please don't morally kidnap me. I'm not the savior's material. I just want to follow my heart and live freely. Chen Ye hurriedly said. Do you want to go down the mountain? Chen Ye nodded sincerely. In the future, you can follow your own path according to your will, as you please. You have your own path, and no one can make a choice for you. But I want you to promise me not to assist the tyrant and fall into the demon realm. And if there are difficulties in the 6 realms in the future, you cannot stand idly by. Do you agree? Chen Ye looked at Chen Ye with a burning gaze. Chen Ye thought for a moment, it's just a quick response, joking. If all 6 realms are over, then what's fun for oneself? As for falling into the demon realm, it all depends on one mouth. There is no absolute right or wrong, just follow your own heart, everything else is not important. Chen Ye doesn't care about the words and opinions of others. He who has golden fingers believes that he will definitely walk horizontally in the fairy sword in the future, and absolute power will be the truth then. Master. Okay, Chen Ye, remember what you promised today. Chen Ye. Master, I will do it. Remember, Shu Mountain will always be your home, you can come back anytime. 3 hours later, Chen Ye turned around and looked at the misty Shu Mountains, still a bit dazed, and so it went down the mountain, after staying on the mountain for over a decade. To say that having no emotions is false, but Chen Ye's yearning for freedom is even stronger. To live a new life, he naturally wants to be more interesting, free-spirited, and bold. Only then can he live a new life. Chen Ye thought he could come down the mountain and see the characters in those immortal swords, such as Xian Jian Daimai Zixuan, the eldest female lead Xian Jian, and the younger sister Long Kui. The sadness of Chen Ye's parting completely disappeared when he thought of it, instead, excitement. Jimei, I'm here. And on a peak in Shu Mountain, the head teacher of Qingfeng Daogu, Qingwei, watched Chen Ye happily descend the mountain with complex eyes and murmuring, I hope it's a blessing for the 6 realms to let him go down the mountain. Chapter 9. Meeting in a Tavern, 7 Beauties of Immortal Sword. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. On a quiet mountain path, a person wearing a white long shirt and a bun, the graceful man hummed a tune on the road. The king called me to patrol the mountains, and I will turn the world around, play my drums, beat my gongs, life is full of rhythm. The king called me to patrol the mountains and catch a monk to cook dinner. The water in this mountain stream, extremely sweet, don't envy the mandarin ducks, don't envy the immortals. This little Taoist is exactly Chen Ye, it is evident. That Chen Ye's mood at this moment is quite good. One of them escaped from the monotonous life in the mountains of Shu, and from then on, the sky was high and birds flew freely. Both of them have received their rewards again because of the system rewards just now. Chen Ye completed his task of leaving Shu Mountain, and from the moment he descended the mountain, the system's rewards were issued. Firstly, there is the Wine Sword Immortal Sword move, which consists of 13 moves. Sword at Sunset, Return of Wind and Watching the Moon, Ling Qi/, One Finger Bullet Sword, Bow Body Inverted Hook, Wind and Moon Falling, Flying Swallow Returning, Flowing Light Passing, Killing the Yuan/, Searching for the Moon in the Sea, Night Fork Exploring the Sea, Ancient Tree Rooting, and Offering Statues on a Large Plate. 13 sword moves, allowing Chen Ye's swordsmanship level to reach the level of a master swordsman. And if used in a drunken state, the power of sword moves can be increased several times. This will be Chen Ye's sword-wielding journey to the ends of the earth to pack a cup full of divine sets. In addition, there is the Dragon and Phoenix Immortal Blood Pill. Claimed to be able to transform muscles and bones, strengthen the strength of bones and tendons, obtain the power of dragons and phoenixes, cleanse one's own constitution, and detach oneself from the mortal body. Just physical strength can make Chen Ye's physical body comparable to a spiritual treasure. And that day-level cultivation method is even more rare. The level of the cultivation method determines the speed of cultivation and the future upper limit. In this world, there are 7 levels of cultivation techniques. Yellow level, Xian level, Earth level, Heaven level, Spirit level, Immortal level, and Divine level. Most of the disciples in Shushan have better talents and use the Xuanjie technique. Those with better talents, such as him, Su Chongqing, and Chang Yin, are using the Earth level technique, and with this set of heavenly level martial arts, Chen Ye has at least made his future battles more enduring. Fusion. Chen Ye whispered. Going down the mountain, Chen Ye wants to enhance his strength as much as possible to strengthen self-protection. After all, this world is also a world of crouching tigers and hidden dragons. There is a sky beyond the sky, and there are people beyond the human world, apart from humans, demons, and demons, there are also the underworld, immortal realm, and divine realm. Who can guarantee that there will be any unauthorized entry? Who can guarantee that the timeline of this immortal sword 3 remains unchanged? Perhaps because of my travels, there are many things in this world that have changed. I only have a simple understanding of the other realms of Chen Ye, but that could just be the tip of the iceberg. Or maybe, who can guarantee that there will be characters like Sun Dashing and the Bull Demon King in this world? What if the world of Xian Jian San is controlled by the ancient gods? After all, Chen Ye is in this world now, and this world is a real existence. There are really a few reckless bigwigs who wave their hands and wipe away their lives, and then Chen Ye becomes the saddest passers-by. So, Chen Ye cannot take it lightly. Under Chen Ye's consciousness, the system's rewards are beginning to merge. In an instant, Chen Ye's mind was filled with the powerful sword moves of the Weishan Sword Immortal, and his muscular memory had also formed. Chen Ye felt that the sword in his hand was like his own arm, swaying gracefully like the wind with the sword flowers in his hand, which Chen Ye had not experienced before. Immediately, Chen Ye took out the Dragon and Phoenix Immortal Blood Pill again. The pill melts at the entrance and instantly turns into pure medicinal power, pouring into the unique meridians and 8 meridians of the body. Chen Ye felt immense muscle soreness, and the powerful medicine shattered his clothes. There are some dark impurities on the body. For Chen Ye, who is somewhat obsessed with cleanliness, it's a bit unbearable. Just then, I saw a small waterfall. Chen Ye jumped in, intending to complete his transformation under this waterfall. So, Chen Ye was at the edge of the waterfall, sitting cross-legged. The impurities released from the body are constantly being washed away. Chen Ye's body was gradually adorned with faint dragon and phoenix tattoos. The muscles on the body also become more linear and streamlined. On top of the originally elegant temperament, there is a hint of toughness and masculinity. Meanwhile, Chen Ye also practiced the heavenly level technique. Gradually, an energy surged into Chen Ye's body around him, forming a tidal wave of energy. This is also the first time Chen Ye has practiced so thoroughly. Unexpectedly, it has entered a state of tranquility, and while he was indulging in cultivation, a purple figure happened to pass by here. Seeing Chen Ye practicing on the stone platform, the woman's face was covered with a purple veil. The small mouth inside the light veil is slightly open. The ups and downs in front of him reflect his restless inner self. I didn't expect there to be such a beautiful man in this mortal world. The woman looked at this figure that looked very similar to her ex-lover, but was also more handsome and masculine. I couldn't help but think of what the saint had said to her. There are thousands of men in this world, don't just stare at that corrupt and uncivilized stinky Taoist. The saint did not deceive me. Nevertheless, I still can't let him go. Back then, she was still a little girl and met him at the temple fair. As a little girl, she believed it was fate and that person was her destined son. From then on, we have been entangled until now, but it has already gone through 2 lifetimes, both ended in tragedy. Let her heart also shake. Is he really the man destined for me in this life? With a light sigh, the woman still put away her lingering gaze and left. Just as he walked away, Chen Ye woke up. Strange, how did you feel like someone was peeping just now? Chen Ye discovered that there was no one around. Just put on your clothes. Where are you going now? He, who has never been down the mountain, is actually lost. I regret leaving in a hurry and forgetting to ask for a map. Let's go with fate. It's getting dark, we need to find a place to settle down first. Chen Ye decided to fly directly with his sword. The sky is gradually getting dark. But when Chen Ye flew over a bamboo forest, I could smell a scent of wine from afar, so he went looking for the taste. Soon it landed in a purple bamboo forest, but I didn't expect this place to be bustling with people. It seems to be a distillery, and for some reason Chen Ye feels a sense of familiarity. It seems like he has been to this place before. And Ling Tavern. No matter what, let's fill our stomachs now. Chen Ye is entering. This place was fully occupied shortly after nightfall. It seems that there must be something unique about this place. I found a table and sat down, just as a handsome woman walked over. What a handsome Taoist. I wonder why you came to our distillery. I came to this distillery because I was hungry and wanted to eat some wine and meat. Oh, aren't cultivators not allowed to drink alcohol? Wine and meat pierce through the intestines. I am a righteous Taoist, and meat and wine are all empty. These external things will not interfere with my Tao heart. Only those unscrupulous Taoists will be confused by these complicated formalities. The woman chuckled lightly upon hearing the words, Master Tao is really a funny person. The slave family is going to prepare for Master Tao now. In no time, the woman came over with a pot of wine, a plate of beef, and a few side dishes. Master Tao, this is the unique wine brewed exclusively by the owner of our workshop. Heartbreaking thoughts. Heartbreaking thoughts, it seems that Gui Feng is also a person with a story. The woman didn't say much. Master, please use it slowly. If you have anything, feel free to give orders. I am very happy to serve a young master like you. After speaking, he didn't forget to tease Chen Ye with his eyes. It seems that what I just said has some other meaning. Chen Ye was also treated this way for the first time. This is the advantage of being handsome. Unfortunately, I am a serious Taoist. Such rouge and common powder are not worth breaking my precepts. Chen Ye started drinking and eating meat. Under a few bites wine is savored on the tongue. Chen Ye couldn't help but want to let out a long cry, Bashi. Every time in Shushan, I sneak around and let old Wang take a little bit, still sneaking around, afraid of being caught. That was a frustrating experience, and now is the new life. At this moment, the system in Chen Ye's mind emitted a sound. Detected host has descended from the mountain. System automatic upgrade in progress. System upgrade completed. Add the function of redeeming breaking rules points. Reaching 1000 points can open the system mall, allowing you to freely exchange mall products. The host drinks a glass of alcohol, breaks the drinking ring, and rewards 10 points for breaking the ring. Host eats 1 pound of meat, break the carnivorous ring, reward breaking ring value of 10 points. This is the upgrade. Accumulate points and open the system mall. This is also more humanized, and it can be exchanged for some of your real needs. Breaking the precepts can lead to points, which is a long and easy process. Chen Ye is currently immersed in the current atmosphere, not paying too much attention to changes in the system. This small distillery is a bit like the tranquility of a past life, isn't it? There are also some performance programs, making Chen Ye very comfortable. The moon is bright and the stars are sparse, and the gentle breeze brushes against my face. Now the weather is perfect for eating barbecue and drinking draft beer. There are still few delicious foods in this world. Chen Ye was bored and thought that he could open a barbecue restaurant in this world when he had time. It's definitely going to explode. Think about it, that's quite interesting too. Anyway, my life is going to be interesting and there are many things I can try. You can replicate some things from your past life in this world. That way, the world will be more interesting. Just as Chen Ye's thinking diverged, suddenly, there was a commotion in the distillery. A stunning figure appeared in the crowd. This woman is wearing a purple light veil and has a graceful figure, with a perfect 9-headed body ratio, charming yet not demonic in temperament, a perfect jawline. There is an astonishing curvature in front of me, sexy with a touch of pity in my eyes. Chen Ye saw this figure. I was also stunned in an instant. What kind of luck is this? Seeing one of the 7 beauties of the immortal sword on the first day down the mountain. And the masked woman also seemed to have some sense. Looking towards Chen Ye's direction, under the veil, she was equally stunned by her beauty. How could it be him? Chapter 10. There is a beautiful woman in the south, dancing with a light green waist. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text.